In our bevy of big hitters this time, a boxer, a blonde, a bodyguard, a beach babe, and a bounty hunter. The son of a respected abstract expressionist, Robert De Niro was exposed to the arts from a young age. At 16, he went on tour in a theatrical production of Chekhov's The Bear. 4 years later, in 1960, he appeared in Brian De Palma's The Wedding Party. But it wasn't until the mid-70s that he really hit his straps as the small-time mafia hood Johnny Boy in Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets. This kicked off a string of collaborations between the pair, including Taxi Driver in 1976. His iconic performance as Travis Bickle shot him to stardom, forever linking Robert's name with Bickle's famous "You Talking to Me" monologue, which De Niro improvised.
Talking to me? Well, who the hell else are you talking to me?
Carry me just a little bit.
Another of his most famous speeches came from another Scorsese-directed film, Raging Bull, for which Robert gained 30 pounds and took home an Oscar.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
He won a Best Supporting Actor award as the young Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather Part 2. Although the movie also starred fellow acting legend Al Pacino, the two never appeared together on screen. They did eventually have a scene together in Michael Mann's 1995 film, Heat.
You see me doing thrill-seeker liquor store hold-ups with a Born to Lose tattoo on my chest?
No, I do not.
Right.
In 1991, he starred in Martin Scorsese's remake of Cape Fear alongside Jessica Lange and Juliette Lewis, who praised him as he was about to accept his Lifetime Achievement Award from the AFI.
When you're that good and you're so professional, he would come to the set and he was very easy to talk to and very professional and prepared, so he never acted like a psycho off screen. And I know a lot of young actors think you got to do that, but that's not how De Niro does it. He's so professional and lovely and humble as a man, so I'm very excited to pay my respects to him tonight.
Conscious of his tendency to be cast in the role of charming sociopath, Robert branched out into comedy and romantic drama in the 1980s. More recently, he's enjoyed great success with two sequel-spawning comedies.
You don't have the word no.
Analyze this with Billy Crystal.
It's more like, no, please, no, no.
Jack, I don't know what we're talking about.
And Meet the Parents with Ben Stiller.
All right, now look, Father. I'm a patient man. That's what 19 months in a Vietnamese prison camp will do to you. But I will be watching you, studying your
Having made more than 60 films, many of his peers believe Robert is only reaching his prime.
I mean, he just is extraordinary, and you know, his work just gets better and better. So he's at his best right now.
I'm aware of the complications.
Indeed, he's never been busier. In 2004, he made 4 films, including animated comedy Shark Tale, Meet the Fockers, and Godsend, in which he plays a college professor who offers to clone an ex-colleague's dead son.
Your son Adam, to birth again, to raise. Adam's dead, goddammit.
I can relate on the obvious level of having, God forbid, lose a child, and then someone approaches you the way I do in this in the story, and thinking about it seriously with a lot of questions, but if those questions are answered, even with some of them saying that they don't have the answer, but they're pretty sure, and no guarantee, but still, you know, you could. It's a kind of like like Nick is always saying, a what if or an as if type situation, close to possible, to being possible. Not there, but in 20 years, it could be more than just possible. It could be taken for granted by that time. The Soviets,
as well as owning restaurants and running the Tribeca Film Festival, Robert has also recently returned to directing after his acclaimed debut in A Bronx Tale. Forced to turn down a part in Martin Scorsese's The Departed, who was ensconced in directing and starring in The Good Shepherd.
You'll be taking Division C.
Well, I started working on the movie about, well, trying to get it done about 7, 8 years ago, and of course all these things happened since then, but 9/11 happened, and that I thought after that nothing was important, so I didn't know if we'd ever make the movie.
Despite only being 1/4 Italian, Robert was honored to be inducted into the Italian-American Hall of Fame, along with Golden Age screen siren Sophia Loren.
I love Sophia Loren. It's an honor to be inducted into the Italian-American Hall of Fame and to share the stage with such a distinguished and accomplished group.
Quite a change from the Italian mobsters and murderers he usually hangs around with.
It's an honor.
Flying the flag for brainy blondes, Reese Witherspoon majored in literature at Stanford University before chucking it all in to pursue acting. Considering she'd scored her first leading role at the age of 15 in The Man in the Moon, it was a fairly calculated risk. After making Pleasantville and Twilight in 1998, she consolidated with her turn as the rather annoying Tracy Flick in Election.
Oh, hi, Tracy.
Who put you up to this?
The same year, she met future husband Ryan Philippe on the set of Dangerous Liaison adaptation Cruel Intentions. The couple went on to have 2 children together. It was in 2001's Legally Blonde as Elle Woods, the seemingly ditzy fashion victim who conquers Harvard Law School, that Reese conquered the box office and found an audience.
Elle Woods is very pink, fun. She always gets like what she wants, you know, and she doesn't let anything stop her. So
she can have fun, but she also is intelligent and has her head on her shoulders straight, so that's encouraging.
At the premiere of Legally Blonde 2, she proved she had just as many smarts as her pink alter ego.
You know, the first movie dealt sort of a lot with stereotyping and that sort of thing, and this movie sort of carries on that message and sort of tells you, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover, definitely.
With a salary of $15 million and a producer credit, no wonder she was positive about the experience.
It was great. I got an opportunity to really help pick the cast and really help pick the director, so it was wonderful.
For her next major role as Vanity Fair's conniving Becky Sharp, Reese had to shed her Nashville twang. Ironically, however, she found being the odd one out in an all-British cast quite useful for the role.
It was exciting, actually. It was good for the part because my character is sort of supposed to be on the outside of society, and it actually helped being the only American because I don't, you know, always understand all of their customs and traditions. So it was a natural fit.
Well, surely not going over there in your condition.
Of course I'm going. Why should the men have all the fun? And didn't Eleanor of Aquitaine ride into battle pregnant and bare-breasted?
By gad, if there's a woman alive who could do the same, it's you.
Be careful of the model, Mrs. Crawley. Queen Eleanor was locked up by her husband.
And emerged from her prison to govern England. Mr. Ernest Worthing.
Thankfully, it wasn't Reese's first stab at an English accent. She got her first crack at the whip in 2002's The Importance of Being Earnest, alongside Frances O'Connor, Colin Firth and Rupert Everett. Sticking to romantic comedy, she played a ghost in Just Like Heaven opposite Mark Ruffalo, who only had lovely things to say about her.
She's cool, man. She's a really, really decent, nice lady.
I'm Johnny Cash.
Having managed to have 2 children without losing step in her career, she took on her biggest challenge yet as real-life singer-songwriter June Carter Cash in the Johnny Cash biopic Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. Although her casting was sanctioned by June before she died in 2004, Reese still approached the role with trepidation.
The singing was terrifying for me. I never sung professionally, and I had a lot of fear of it because very early on someone told me I wasn't a very good singer. So, you know, you got to be careful what you tell little kids. They really believe you, and that just took. It was like a mental hurdle I had to get over to ultimately get to the place where I felt comfortable recording the album, and then ultimately after that singing in front of thousands of people. It was really awful.
Her bravery was awarded in spades with an Oscar nomination.
In Walk the Line.
I'm thrilled. I'm really thrilled. You know, I never thought I would really be here, particularly now. At this age, I'm like, But it's just such an honor to be recognized like that, because I have such respect for the Academy, and you know, it's just it's a lot. It's a lot. It's been a big year.
Charmingly, she was more nervous for her daughter than for herself.
I'll be excited. My daughter gets really excited. She doesn't really know what the awards are. She just knows it. She likes to see her mom and dad get dressed up. And then when we come home at night, she always goes, "Did you win anything? Well, did you get anything?" So, yeah, I hope we don't let her down. It's okay. It's okay. She's been very happy so far.
She romped home with the Best Actress award. However, following in the footsteps of Halle Berry and Hilary Swank, winning the industry's top award also coincided with the end of her celebrity marriage.
I'm proud to be a part of this community and this very unique American tradition. Standing here today, I can't help but think back to that 19-year-old. I remember thinking about my own future. It was cloudy. It was unclear to me how I would find my way.
Despite his yo-yoing career, Kevin Costner's place in Hollywood was recently cemented in a ceremony in front of the historic Grauman's Chinese Theatre. Unfortunately, his rather arduous acceptance speech ran almost as long as some of the self-produced box office flops that earned him such derision in the 1990s. Preparing to immortalize his feet and hands in concrete, Costner was supported by Ashton Kutcher, the co-star of one of his most recent projects, The Guardian.
I swim as fast and as hard as I can for as long as I can. And the sea takes a rest.
Costner's commitment to acting came after a chance meeting with Richard Burton, who advised him to put everything into it if he was serious. Since then, nobody would ever accuse him of being anything but serious. A native of California, he got his big break in the 1985 film Silverado. His passion for sport helped him through starring turns in back-to-back baseball movies, Bull Durham and Field of Dreams. After that came the film that transformed him into a megastar. As producer, director and star of the 1990 blockbuster Dances with Wolves, his unwavering seriousness paid off, with Oscars for Best Film and Best Direction.
Every movie you give the same, and it seems like it's blood almost sometimes, because these movies can live forever, you know, in the minds of people that see them, in the minds of the people that pay. And every decision you make should be about the idea that there'll be moments that they never ever forget.
It's gonna be okay, Dave. You just talk
That
to us
philosophy
on the record,
worked
we'll
well
protect
for the
you.
next
I
few years in
guarantee it.
films like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, JFK and The Bodyguard, when he also found the time to direct Madonna's Truth or Dare and a documentary on Oliver Stone. Then his do-or-die independence started to backfire when the budget for Waterworld blew out to $175 million and ended up being a critical as well as a commercial flop. Wyatt Earp and The Postman did even worse, and Costner had to be philosophical.
I don't think any difference, really. I think that, you know, even a bad film is hard work. You know, good film, it's hard work. Big money, the days are long. Little money, the days are just as long. I think, you know, what's hard to spend time on a movie that doesn't come out the way you want it. That's what's hard.
However, making films with much more conservative budgets has helped turn his fortunes around, with his more recent films like Upside of Anger pulling in a modest profit.
Where's Mom?
Upstairs, taking a shower.
I didn't see much.
Have you ever heard of boundaries?
His 2003 film Open Range also did fairly well and marked his return to his beloved Western.
One man telling another man where he can go in this country is something else.
I like that it's, we haven't seen something like it in a while. I think it takes us back historically to a lot of America's roots, which has a lot to do with Europe, because that's, after all, who settled our country. And, you know, I think Westerns are one of the last places on film where you can sit in the dark and you can measure yourself against another man, or a woman can measure themselves against another woman. Like, I wonder how I would have behaved under those circumstances.
One thing's for sure, he certainly wouldn't have danced to anyone else's tune. In 2005, he played the infertile seducer of 3 generations of women in the comedy Rumour Has It with Jennifer Aniston. When he received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, former co-star Madeleine Stowe had this to say about him.
He's a complex and sometimes unfathomable man, and it took me years to understand that contradictions in a person and conflicts are things not to be feared, but rather that there's great beauty to be found in their wake.
Let's leave the last word to the man himself.
As a storyteller, you know, I kind of have those feelings. I get really excited when I'm going to show something that I've made. You know, I feel like I have a real present to give people, those who show up in the dark, you know, to watch it.
Pamela Anderson certainly has no qualms about sacrificing the sanctity of her own body for the sake of human vanity. The self-professed plastic surgery poster girl openly admits she had breast implants before landing her eye-popping part in the frothy 90s soap Baywatch. But when it comes to exploiting our four-legged friend, she's like a bear with a sore head. A dedicated vegetarian and a tireless campaigner for anti-fur lobby group PETA, she's not afraid to name and shame those celebrities who continue to promote the wearing of fur.
Well, especially the ones that are starting to put them in their clothing lines, like J-Lo and Beyonce, and I think there's just so many other things. There's such beautiful women, and there's such smart, great role models that it's really important for them to be very conscious about what they wear, and especially it's their fashion icon. So it's really sad to me to see them wear that, because I don't think young girls are thinking about the cruelty that goes into the clothing line. They're thinking about, you know, Beyonce's wearing this or J-Lo, and so they're beautiful girls, and they shouldn't. I think I would hope that they don't continue to put that in their line.
At a recent press event held by fellow campaigner Stella McCartney in London, the slogan was, "We'd rather bare skin than wear skin," and Pamela was prepared to prove it.
Oh, well, I'd definitely rather be naked than wear fur. I'd probably rather be naked than wear clothes, though, so that's I'm not a good person to ask. No, I think they're going to have models here tonight in the windows.
But you're not going to be joining them.
I don't know. I'll have to see.
There's always
have a glass of champagne. You know, it's hard to talk me out of a good time.
If anyone did try and talk her out of it, they clearly failed. And the Good Time girl sparked a flashing frenzy when she later bounced out topless. But then it's hardly as if she has anything to hide. After bearing almost all to a worldwide audience on a weekly basis for 5 years in Baywatch, she left even less to the imagination after a stolen video of her having sex with Tommy Lee on a yacht was leaked to the internet. She married the Motley Crue drummer just 96 hours after meeting him, and they went on to have 2 sons. Then she went out with Kid Rock. Having split up in 2003, they announced they were marrying on a yacht in France in 2006, with the singer-songwriter waxing lyrical about his intended.
We enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. What's not to enjoy? Sometimes when it's in there and the sun's not shining and you're confined to the building and her smile just lights up the whole room and you just say, that's what I enjoy.
Still, 4 months later, they were racing to file for divorce, with some news reports blaming the split on Kid Rock's outrage during a screening of Borat, in which she plays a cameo role as herself. Unlike Kid Rock, Pamela seems perfectly happy about being the butt of a joke, particularly if it's in aid of her favourite charity.
I'm vegetarian. I can't do a roast. No, that's why I brought a vegetable, so I could eat something tonight. Yes, no, it was great because Dan Matthews came up to me from PETA and Comedy Central wanted to do this, and they were going to donate $200,000 to PETA for me to do it, and I was like, absolutely. You know, roast me, boil me, poach me, whatever you got to do, let's get it done.
Good friend Courtney Love was on hand at the Comedy Central roast to point out Pamela's funniest attributes.
Because she's really smart and she's really cool, and like me, we share the distinction of being the 2 probably biggest female freak shows on earth, who have the most fame and the least amount of money.
But fellow roaster, comedian Adam Carolla nailed it best.
I think it's the funniest thing about Pamela Anderson is probably when she attempts to act. I guess for me, that's the best part. Yeah, I don't know what's not funny. I mean, you know, Dr. Drew, I think, described her best when he said she was a female impersonator. It's weird, but think about it. Is it possible for a woman to be in drag? Yeah.
Voted the world's sexiest woman by FHM magazine in 2006, Kiera Knightley certainly knows how to give great face. But upon opening her mouth, she reveals the bubbly and gracious nature of a young woman excited to be doing rather well in the movie business. She could barely contain her delight at being nominated for a Golden Globe for her role in Pride and Prejudice.
I was with my agent who'd come around to the flat to talk me through how I was going to make tonight's lasagna, and I got a call from my American agent saying that I'd been nominated. So, yeah, it was pretty good. It was really good.
So who was the first person you told the news?
I called my mum and said, "Oh, I've been nominated for a Golden Globe," and she said, "Oh, that's lovely, you're not going to win, but that's lovely." Okay. But she said that she'd buy me a bottle of champagne, so that's okay, I can't complain.
A mother's reaction may seem harsh, but as an award-winning playwright herself, Sharman MacDonald must have also had her own fair share of disappointments. The Golden Globe and Oscar that year went to Reese Witherspoon for Walk the Line, but at the age of 20, Kiera Knightley had added critical acclaim to blockbusting box office success.
Oh, will you both pack it in?
After kicking her way into the public consciousness in 2002 soccer film Bend It Like Beckham, the dyslexic girl from Teddington in Middlesex set sail for superstardom, aboard what's become a very famous seagoing vehicle.
Johnny Depp, Orlando Bloom, Jeffrey Rush, in the Jerry Bruckheimer film. Why wouldn't you do this pirate film?
Cruel, demented, vicious pirates who cannot be killed.
The moonlight shows us for what we really are. That's interesting.
She spent much of the Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl getting absolutely drenched, much to the delight of her growing fan base. Her increasing celebrity brought increasing scrutiny and increasing speculation about Kiera's wafer-thin frame.
No, it was really weird. They said that to me yesterday. They went, "How does it feel to be always called anorexic?" I had no idea that I was. I can safely say that I'm not. I've got a lot of experience with anorexia. It was in my family hugely. My grandmother and my great-grandmother suffered from it, and I've got a lot of friends at school who suffer from it, so I don't think it's anything to be taken lightly. I've been training since I was...
No one would have had the kahunas to challenge Kiera during the filming of Domino in 2005, in which she played real-life model turned bounty hunter Domino Harvey, who died of a drug overdose just before the film was released. Co-star Mickey Rourke was impressed with her toughness.
I saw some squibs go off that burnt her and made her bleed and stuff, but you know, she didn't cry about it. I cried more about it than her.
Although Kiera admits she couldn't keep up the butch act for long.
I mean, for like about a week after I finished Domino, I would sort of walk, you know, give it the big walk and think, yeah, I'm so cool. And then my friends were just like, what are you doing? So I felt very stupid after that. So no, I'm afraid I just walk like me now.
Still, it all stood her in good stead for back-to-back filming of the next two Pirates installments, which see her getting a larger and larger slice of the action. Not that she's likely to turn her back on more serious acting roles, having won such acclaim for Pride and Prejudice. And after earning praise indeed from co-star Donald Sutherland.
I don't know about her charisma. I only know about her working capacity, her devotion to the work, her stillness, her ability to, you know, Fellini said about his own life, he said, you must not understand. Woe betide the person who understands. You have to listen, you have to learn. You have to understand the reality and the unreality. You cannot be judgmental and you cannot be rational. And she fits perfectly into that mold. She just exists within that ether, that metaphysical ether, and she was capable of just being an extension of Joe Wright's imagination. It was very, very beautiful to watch.
And perhaps her turn on the podium will come after playing Vera Phillips in The Best Time of Our Lives, an upcoming film written by her mother.